A boy band, a butler, and a drug-dealing comedy battled it out for the box office this weekend.
We're not your typical family. I need you to be my wife for 10 grand.
Drug dealing?
Oh, it's smuggling. We're just pretending to be a family to smuggle pot across the border.
Where the Millers kept a spot in the top three for the fourth weekend in a row. The comedy, starring Jennifer Aniston and Jason Sudeikis, came in third with $12.6 million.
We are the Millers.
You know he got that job himself. The White House called him. He didn't call the White House.
I want to hear all the stories.
I don't know how many stories you're going to hear because they done swore him to some kind of secret code.
Lee Daniels, the butler, fell from first place. The civil rights drama starring Forrest Whitaker and Oprah Winfrey came in second with $14.7 million.
Don't worry about Big Mo behind you. That brother's...
I don't know if you could have more of a dramatic life change.
Just look at that. Like, it's absolutely amazing. We tried to...
And Jason Gorber's favorite, a British boy band, sang its way to the top of the box office. One Direction, This Is Us, brought in $17 million in its opening weekend. The concert documentary takes a closer look at the wildly successful band One Direction. And with that, Jason Gorber from...
what they do, the kids, 1D.
Film. Is that what they do? I have no idea what they do. It's
Scott,
One Direction.
it's because you're old.
All right, the interview's over. Roll break. Okay, we'll get to One Direction in a second, but I mentioned to you earlier today on Twitter that this is your Super Bowl that's coming up here.
Yeah,
TIFF.
Super Bowl, World Cup, Bar Mitzvah, everything all rolled into one. The Toronto International Film Festival starts in just a few days, and I'm already going a little bit crazy with it. I'm seeing all kinds of films ahead of time. There's all kinds of amazing things that are going to be coming to this fair city. This is the world's largest public festival, which means, quite simply, that out of a lot of the other big festivals, like Cannes, for example, you can't really buy tickets for it. If you're industry, you can go. But what's amazing about TIFF is it started as the Festival of Festivals. It started as the place that brought in the best films from all over the world and brought them to this city. And over the years, over all these many decades, it has grown into this incredible juggernaut of a festival. And if you've never had a chance from all over the country, it's an amazing place to come to truly experience films in the best possible circumstances, the best audiences, and just incredible movies. And, you know, given the fact that I guess 7 of the last 8 Oscar winners have played TIFF, it's a pretty good place to predict that sort of thing, too.
What's on the Oscar radar this time, or is it too early to tell?
It's a little bit too early to tell, but I'm going totally on a limb here. A lot of people didn't like this movie. I love the heck out of Rush, the Ron Howard film. I don't know if it's going to quite make Best Picture, but this is an astonishing film about the 1976 Formula One season. And for me, it does something quite magical, which is to tell a story that if you don't care about racing, if you don't care about Formula One, and just want a movie that are going to show you something that you haven't seen before, it's great. And if you really care about Formula One like I do, and are really into racing, it's an amazing movie. Ron Howard did this once before with Apollo 13. You can not care about NASA at all, and it was still a pretty fun film. And if you really, really are into the space program, it was also something that really energized you. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Gravity, Alphonse Cuarón. You're going to see Sandra Bullock completely nominated for that. I haven't even seen the film yet. I'm making predictions. There's some fabulous stuff that's coming. I will point out there's a couple films. Teller, Penn and Teller fame, is doing a film called Tim's Vermeer. There's a film from South Africa called I Number that I saw as pre-screenings. Both of these films are amazing. So if you are in Toronto and have a chance, tickets are still available for some of these films. Go online, book tickets, and heck, book a plane ticket from all over the country and come and see some TIFF.
Good idea. Do the A-listers book tickets and fly here because of the films that they're selling, or do they really want to be here to be seen?
Well, it's a little column A, little column B. Toronto has become really the beginning of awards season. I mean, there's all kinds of other festivals. Venice is taking place this week. But in North America, Toronto is really when things start to gear up in a big way. Not only is there a festival going on that you see in the red carpet and all that stuff, but there's tons of meetings going on. There's all kinds of films that get developed here, which years later will go on to become enormous successes. I mean, some films play here, like Slumdog Millionaire, which was going to be straight to DVD, plays the Toronto Film Festival, wins People's Choice, wins the Oscar. So that's the kind of thing that can happen at TIFF.
Okay, so I'm surprised that you're awake because apparently you saw One Direction like 5 times today.
Well, to be fair, we have Morgan Spurlock, the Academy Award nominated director, Morgan Spurlock, doing this documentary about One Direction. And I was there in line with a whole bunch of 12-year-old girls really looking forward to this film. And I gotta say, there was a chance that this film could have been much better than it really is. I mean, fundamentally, it's a self-serving, self-aggrandizing portrayal of 5 semi-talented boys that were put together and packaged by Simon Cowell and put on. And there are moments, though, in this film where it almost becomes a real documentary when they're interviewing the parents, and the parents are like, my kids have disappeared for 4 years, and I don't know where they are now. I don't know who they are now. And then you have some amazing lack of self-awareness when you have the 5 of them sitting around thinking, you know, if only one of us was in this band, it wouldn't be the same thing. Well, they're relatively interchangeable, despite that there's a cute one and the adorable one and the shy one, etc. Unfortunately, this kind of packaged media is the new boy band, but this has been going on since the 50s. That part isn't new. What is new is how much of a juggernaut this has become in the music industry that's shrinking. This is playing a bigger role in the music industry than it ever has, and because of that, a band like One Direction that can be put together on a TV show becomes a phenomenon. I would have loved to have seen the process of them working with their guru sound producers. I mean, that one scene at 4 o'clock in the morning, they got woken up to do a song. I would have loved more of that. I would have loved to see them struggling to actually get the harmonies together. Instead, we get a giant commercial for One Direction, which if you like One Direction, go see it. You're going to see it anyway.
Final point, Richard Nixon film has a fascination with him these days. Yeah,
Our Nixon, very briefly, these were a series of home movies taken by a bunch of the Nixon aides that sat basically undeveloped for many years. The film assembles these all into sort of a weird grand narrative about all the stuff that was going on. A lot of this stuff is recently declassified. Now, Richard Nixon was a bit of a crazy person, not a very nice guy, and so the film actually takes on the whole mysticism that surrounds the Nixon presidency, but also in a weird way humanizes all the stuff that was going on. You get some pretty astonishing quotes from the president and from his aides. It's definitely worth seeing. It's a really interesting assemblage. It's not a complete home run, but it's something worth checking out if you're looking for something completely different than the One Direction film.
And I got to remind people that they can follow you at Filmfest_CA on Twitter. Jason, I know you have One Direction this week. It's to the Filmfest. Thank you very much.
1D.